Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. We called it Blow It Up Friday for a very good reason. Some teams are certainly going to have to consider changes after the result of today, but not the Vegas Legion necessarily. They put themselves in a very good position to secure winners bracket for the first time in their franchise history with victory today against an all out of sorts Minnesota Rokkr that surely have got to do something. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. First of all, a brand new series here from Crimsix. New YouTube series, daily uploads coming out for the people. First episode, I believe, already dropped down. He did a quick introduction here. I think content like this personally could, Crim could put this behind a paywall. He could do some of this stuff to the public. He could put some of it behind, like, did Scump do like one of those masterclass things at one point on how to play COD or something? And, Crim could put this on a skill share or something like that. I think it'd be kind of interesting, but it's good that we get it for free. So that's what it's going to be. Every day, new episode with Crim telling you how to play COD, all the secrets that he's learned across his career. So going to be very interesting content. Part-time idiot, part-time genius, I just noticed here. So that's pretty good stuff. And yeah, that's going on over the coming days. Another interesting piece of news as well from Kevy Skills. If you guys don't know, Kevy has been around for almost a decade running COD. He says 9 years ago this kind of journey started. Of course, does a lot of moderating for the big creators in the COD scene, was doing content with Scump for some time, was doing his Twitter videos, his YouTube stuff for quite a while, and now Scump's gone full-time content. It seems Scump has decided to change tack with who he's going to have as his video editor, and there's been some controversy about this. I don't really think we need to read into any of the drama here, but Kevy does say in the replies this news was unexpected, so he's going to be back stronger. So it doesn't seem to me that Kevy is going to be like joining OpTic full-time or something as a content guy, and that's kind of the big announcement or whatever. But he does still work with Courage, I believe, so at least there's that still going on. But interesting, right, that Scump, after going full-time, I guess wants to maybe take his content to the next level, or probably wants to get someone maybe in-house to do it on OpTic. That might make sense as well, because Kevy, I believe, is UK based and maybe time zones and other things. Scump, now that he's full time, maybe wants to get someone else in. Don't know, difficult to read into. I know that he was asking or answering questions about this on stream, and never really said too much of the sort. So we'll see what happens over the coming days here, whether Scump's next step is clear. But of course, they've got the breakdown to do on Sunday this weekend with that brand new content show they're doing with Scump and Methods. That's very exciting with all the talk that they have about it at the present time. These are the standings then going into today's games. So Vegas sat at 1 and 2, a 5 in 7 map count. We'll see in a few seconds time here where they sit now, and they sit in certainly a promising position. Rokkr, they were already out of it. Guerrillas already looking slow for them at 0 and 3. Ravens in a similar spot, certainly after today. And Surge, as you might expect, quite quickly went up 2-0 in this series. They actually dominated the search and destroy as well. It does feel like Surge have put good work into their search, and finally accuracy is looking pretty good in search and destroy. We expected it all year. Accuracy, typically his search and destroy is arguably his best mode, and finally he's showing some life in that mode this season. That's going to be crucial for Seattle. They do lose the control in this series, they end up winning it regardless. So yeah, London actually somehow won the control. Honestly, it was a weird one to me, because Fortress is such a good map typically for Surge that I thought this series was absolutely done and dusted right after this one. Turned out not to be the case though, and London somehow fought back, but wasn't to be. They lost the game 4. Pred actually tweeted up GG's LAG before he corrected it and said GG's London, like he didn't even know who he was playing. He was just straight up throwing on the map. S&D looking a lot better, and I believe that Miles said on the broadcast that this freezing issue we were getting was broadcast side only, and yet the game was actually fine for the players. Now Pred disagrees with that and says maybe that was never right to begin with. I don't know. He says the freezing mid-game needs to be fixed. So yeah, I don't really know if too many of the London guys commented on this, but Pred was clearly not happy with all the freezing issues that were being had, certainly in that game 3 control. And I thought, okay, is this just on the broadcast? But apparently no, apparently the players are having it as well. So that's obviously not ideal, but at the end of the day, the right team, I think, won the series. Speaking of Surge, just wanted to show an interesting clip here that came up from Scump's stream, where he was discussing, or Methods asked him the question, who are the most skilled mechanical players in the game, given like a top 5 list. I feel like their list of 3 SMGs, 3 ARs was pretty good, to be honest, but I was thinking in my head, like, you've got to say Simp to a degree. Yes, Simp hasn't been so good, but in terms of pure mechanical raw ability, Simp is definitely one of the best and deserves to be in the conversation, even if his numbers aren't so great, let's say, so far this season. Difficult question to answer though. Most mechanically gifted players, like, I think you've got to do a top 10 at that point to really get to the weeds of which players deserve it from whichever roles.
Mack off to a rough start. Who would you put in top 5 mechanically? Top 5 mechanically?
In no order, I'm going Sib, Dashy,
Cell, you have to.
Cellium,
aBeZy,
Hydra,
or Shotzzy.
The old splish splash on the exit. Nice work from Paul there.
If we're doing a top 6, I'd have those 3 subs, those 3 AOs. And like mechanically, right now,
keeps those kills going. Time still now in the hands of Seattle Surge.
Or Simp.
It's actually,
You gotta give Simp a shout as well.
And Prid's got to be in the conversation as well. He has been the brawn for the last 10 series here, right? Okay, he against FaZe, he had a 0.9, but outside of that, 1.2, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.1, 1.5, 2, you know, overall 1.21, 4-6 record though. Out of those 10 dominant performances, 4-6 record for Pred. So he's coming different, and they're looking good, of course. They're going to be in the winners bracket for the major here, so they'll be in a decent spot to make a decent run. The overall numbers look like this. Accuracy individually had a good series. Statistically, most damage in the lobby actually as well. Bit of a stinky one for Paul on the other side, so, you know, I don't know. I'm just not convinced this London team. I thought they'd make a change a while ago. I thought they might even bring Zero back or something. They haven't done that. You know, they need to get a Harry or a Gizmo or just something, right? I mean, it's so obvious, no? But they just haven't done it for some reason. Accuracy had a good individual performance. Statistically, he was making some questionable plays, to be honest, in that final hard point that they almost didn't win, but they did eventually get over the line. The second series, though, and this is the one that I was actually looking forward to today. The other ones meant less to me than Vegas versus Minnesota Rokkr, because Rokkr in the situation where if they lost this, surely it's chalked for their team, and Vegas needed to win, or at least needed to stay very competitive to give themselves a good chance of qualifying in winners for the major. Game 1, Minnesota managed to take it. Like, Vegas tried their best, but it wasn't to be, and I'm still not sold on this Vegas team. Yes, they won this series, but they've beaten an all out of sorts Minnesota Rokkr team that is not obviously good at all right now, arguably one of the worst teams in the entire league. And Vegas have Clay as basically their superstar player right now, which is great for Clay, and he's playing very high level Call of Duty. But if you're relying on Clay to be the man to take over series, like, that's not the team dynamic you want. Like, in your main AR position, that's not the guy you want in the main AR role to do the damage. You want the SMGs, you want it to be the flex or whatever to generally do the slaying, and the AR does, you know, the hard point work and whatever. Clay's a fast-paced main AR. He's going to get damage, going to get engagements, but the fact that Clay is the guy putting the team on his back is probably not long-term sustainable compared to some of the other teams in the league. So I still think there's questions about this roster, but regardless, they tied the series at 1-1. They win another search and destroy. I thought if they were going to win this, it was going to be in a game 5, but I do really question again the decisions in the vetoes by the guys on the Minnesota Rokkr, especially in the game 5 here. I thought was a really remarkable veto they decided to go for. They did end up winning the control, so Vegas go down 2-1, but again, resilience from the guys on the Las Vegas Legion. Some nice plays here from 2-Will. 2-Will was looking like Huke at Major 2 here, like he was winding a few shots, but he was making some very valuable plays. So I'm not saying, okay, 2-Will's got to go, but, you know, there is an argument to say this experiment hasn't really worked out so well for Vegas, but nonetheless, they bring 2-Will in. They're on the verge of making it through to the winners bracket, so you've got to give them some credit, but, you know, I'm just still not sold completely on this. I don't know what you guys think in the comment section below. They did, however, win at the game 4. Clay was making plays. Look at the movement as well from the young man. 18 and cracked, straight into the lobby. 9-9 overall, and, you know, he's in the perfect spot here. They're not reading that one. Gets a kill, gets the 2-piece, closes out the game, sends it to a game 5. The resilience personified. Clay's hyped as always. I mean, like, he, as I said the other day, right, when they won their last series, he's like the most passionate player in the league, and he's almost 31 in just a couple of months' time here. And then game 5, Rokkr full collapse. 2-Will was again making good plays. 2 clutch for the Rokkr. I'm a bit confused what they were even thinking here, to be honest. 2-Will made a nice little flank actually towards the end of this round. They didn't read it, didn't hear him. Maybe they need to turn on the loudest equalization, to be honest. He gets the kill off the bomb, stays alive, and that's enough to win them that round. That's up 3-1. They let TJ ace them round 1. He then got streaks. Then Clayster was shooting bodies up 5-1. And I thought, is this going to be, you know, they're going to come back? But then TJ hit a snipe, or Temp, I think, hit a snipe. And then it was like, okay, probably over. They closed it out 6-1 in the end. Wasn't even close. And the most remarkable thing to me is, this is Las Vegas Legion's map. This is the map where they never lose. So far this season, they are 8-0 on this map. I believe they were 7-0 going into this series, something like that. And Rokkr were like, yeah, we're challenging them on it. And they got bodies. It's like, well, if you're going to challenge someone on a map you know they're good at least have something in the tank that you can at least be competitive on it. Right? If they'd have gone 6-4, you'd have been like, okay, fair enough, maybe they had some ideas. But if it's 6-1, it's like, yeah, damn, really not a good showing at all. And even as Clay says, GG's then 1-3-2. Don't know why they're channeling us on the bread and butters, right? That's like, yeah, it's their best map basically in the entire map pool. They channel them on at game 5 and get bodies game 5. So not exactly a massive surprise. Look at the numbers though from Clay. That was a 1.20 series KD, the best that Clay's had this season. Went 18 and 8 across the 2 search and destroys, season high for him. So you know, starting off a good time, 31 in 2 months. And I was actually thinking about this, right? Is Clayster the type of player that Minnesota actually need? Because I would say the only man right now safe on Rokkr is Afro, right? Even the coaching staff. I mean, again, I know the coaching staff get brought in quite a lot when there are questionable vetoes, and maybe that's understandable at times. Other times it's maybe the players that make the call. But, you know, still, Rokkr, yes, they came top 3 at the major, but outside of that, their performances have been very lackluster. Bance obviously isn't dropping 1.3s anymore, which is expected. You weren't expecting him to keep up that level he had during the entirety of Major 2. Afro's still been good and impactful, but a bit inconsistent. And then Attach has a 1.17, but, you know, looking at the numbers never tells you the whole story anyway, because as Attach says here in the replies, you know, you fry in 2 respawns, play bad in 1 respawn and the 2 searches, your number's going to look worse, but still, you know, 54 deaths over, you know, 5 maps, right, from your main ER. You'd think that maybe you need a bit more engagements than that, because Cammy was 71 and 71, and, you know, Attach the most least damage in the lobby apart from 2real. So, you know, I don't know. There's some questions about Rokkr, big questions at that. I still do wonder whether this thing for Vegas can actually work, as 2real again didn't have a great series. They relied on Clay heavily to win in this series. But it's great to see Clay delivering, and he's making the most of his situation, kind of like how Slasher did last year on a bad Los Angeles Guerrillas team. He showed his worth in Search and Destroy. FaZe picked him up. Clayster is doing the same thing right now, I think, on Vegas. Teams are clearly seeing Clay's value, and yes, Vegas and Clay might not win anything this year, and they might not make a championship Sunday, but regardless, right, Clay has proven himself that he's still a top-level player, can still potentially improve plenty of teams in the league, and maybe a buyout could even be worthwhile for certain teams. We shall see. But what would you do if you're Minnesota Rokkr right now? Like, they got bodied here. It was bad. Okay, it was 3-2, but like, if you're losing to Vegas 3-2 with 2real dropping a 0.75, like, you know, you've got to be doing better than that. 0-4 now, right? A 9-map loss streak in Search and Destroy used to be their bread and butter game mode. Now they're getting bodied on it. Tough to even say what to change, what to move around, but, you know, I think it's quite clear that I would say Afro's spot is safe. Outside of that, I have no clue really, right? They're probably going to run it into the major, just see what happens, but after that, they've got options on the bench over there. They've got Fame, you know, they could bring in Real, the Spanish player. There's options, right? They could potentially change around, but I think something's going to happen with the AR duo as well, even though they paid a pretty penny to put that AR duo together. And speaking of blowing it up, a weird series to close out the day. It felt like this one was destined from game 5 before it even started, to be honest. Mutineers versus Guerrillas. JoeDeceives was kind of cooking game 1, but it was Mutineers that win this in. This is a crazy map, honestly. I don't know how Mutineers won this one. Like, sometimes you get these bad teams play each other, and it's just, like, way more entertaining to watch than the good teams, because it's just madness on the map all the time, and this is another example of that. But game 1 goes Mutineers' way. They close out another closely fought Zarqwa hydroelectric hardpoint here, and then game 2 was the other way. I thought, to be honest, Fodder had this one. Look at this from JoeDeceives. 1, 2, 3. Like, I mean, the third guy got destroyed, but somehow they line up for the 3-piece there. I don't know how they let him get away with that one, but another just comedy moment from one of the blow it up bowls. And it was, as I say, kind of destined to go all the way to the distance here. In the end, Mutineers lost a very closely fought game 4. Guerrillas take it to a game 5 hardpoint. Their hardpoint's been so bad, LAG, but against Florida, they can get the job done. And this is the issue with this Florida team, right, is that you can't trust them in the game 5 anymore. You can trust Havoc to play well, as he was this series, but they go up, what, 3-0 in the game 5? I think they're up 3-0. It then became 5-3, and boom, Guerrillas get their first win of the qualifiers, and I don't think it's going to be enough to put them into winners. I don't think it's going to be good enough for Florida either to get them into winners, so yeah, not ideal for both teams. And that's the thing with this Florida team. Their old team, I think, wins this series, because they, you know, sneak something and they win a game 5 maybe. Their new team is maybe better in the respawns, but they just can't win a Surge right now, which is not a good thing for this roster at all. So both these teams are terrible, but it was quite entertaining nonetheless. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.